Hey Rob, I'm guessing you're not in Florida.
No, it's not Florida today. Any guess?
You're on a
In
cruise.
the Alps.
Yeah,
Norway.
I'm in Norway. Yes, you got it. You
Boy,
win
you're
the
a
prize.
diehard, man.
Exactly. Got to find the place with good internet too. So, no, I'm excited today to kind of bring home, maybe three or four masterminds ago and our last session and talk about how we can use the subconscious mind to anchor ourselves to the goals that we have. Can everybody hear me good?
Yes.
All right, fantastic. So I'm sure we all have ourselves through it, and usually that doesn't work out, right? Usually muscling through these goals wind up leaving us frustrated. We run out of energy because it's just not the smart way to go about doing it. Does anybody remember how many more times that the conscious mind or the subconscious mind has than the conscious mind in terms of energy and retention? Anybody? I think it's like a million times the amount of computing power that we have in our subconscious mind than we have it in our conscious mind. Did anybody ever hear people talking about doing affirmations? I'm sure Ron, you probably have heard about that, right?
Yeah.
And what's the concept of affirmations?
What's the content of it? I think you have to kind
What no, what's the point of it?
of
Affirmation.
To make it
affirmation is
come
just,
true.
Yes,
yeah,
it's to
it's
affirm
something
a
like
belief.
almost like a goal, you know.
If you build it, they will come.
Yeah.
Right. That's a good way to put it.
To become part of the subconscious mind so that it's automatic type of
Mhm.
thing.
A lot of people write it down and they study it every day. They read it every day. And an affirmation shouldn't be real long, should be short and sweet to the point.
And I think once you study, and none of us are going to be, NLP experts, but I'd like to equate this to.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are some people on this mastermind that love understanding how the automobile works, right? You understand, fuel injection and how the pistons work and how you would do a tune-up. For me, I'm just not interested in that. All I want to know is how do I operate the car to get from point A to point B to get the outcome that I want. If I want to go from Westfield to Morristown, I need to know, I need to make sure I have gas in it, take care of the vehicle, and and learn how to drive it. I think the NLP programming and the reasons behind it is more or less, the black box behind the automobile. What makes the car run? That doesn't really concern me. What concerns me is how do I use these resources to get the outcome that we want? Okay. And I think affirmations allow us to transfer the power into our subconscious mind that will make the outcome, dramatically more possible and a lot easier for us to accomplish instead of muscling through it, right? I mean, you can muscle through a test, but if you prepared for it, you cruise through it. Like this was pretty easy. If you didn't study, or you just crammed at the end, you might get the positive outcome, but you might not. I think affirmations are going to put that sense of certainty in our mind. It's going to give us that energy that you can't see that's going to deliver the outcome to what our goals are. And today's purpose is to anchor our goals into the subconscious. And I did a little bit of research, and I'm just gonna kind of talk a little bit about what I kind of discovered here. So a recap of our last meeting or two meetings ago, where we talked about the subconscious mind can process 2 million bits of data in a second. The conscious mind is limited to 126 pieces. I don't even think I can think of 126 pieces at once. The subconscious mind operates in two settings: growth or decay. You're either growing or you're dying, you're thriving or you're trying to survive. The The subconscious mind accepts everything literally and is always looking for evidence to support it. The subconscious mind builds your life according to your beliefs. This is where, somebody mentioned affirmations. Subconscious mind operates on two principles: to seek pleasure and avoid pain. Subconscious mind learns in two ways: repetition and emotion. The more intense the emotion, the less repetition that's needed. And the subconscious mind does not know the difference between imagination and reality. So that's what I found in doing my homework in terms of the subconscious mind. And we're going to talk about how we can use that to anchor our goals into place. And I think sometimes we often, in my opinion, skip a step when we anchor our goals. Do most of us on this call have clear goals that you want for the next 12 months and 36 months in real estate? I see a couple of heads shaking. Does anybody want to volunteer what your goals are?
Yeah, our goals, we kind of up and revised our business plan, but our goals are, well, our 1 year plan, 6 months to 1 year plan is to have 3 closings a month, 3 listings per month, 1 buyer sale a month. Prospecting 2 hours a day, having 5 conversations with people. What else is on our list? I think that's about it.
So, Ron, I appreciate you sharing that. I'm gonna give you a spin that I found to be helpful, which is instead of to say have, you said 3 buyers. Can you repeat that for me? 3 buyer side and 1 listing. Is
1
that what you
buyer
said?
sale, 3 listings a month, 3 closings per month. What do we say? 38 closings a year? No, yeah, 38. We're looking at our plan here. We
Okay.
revised
So-
it because what we did is we went through our business plan that we had previously, and our expenses went up and the income didn't meet the expenses. So this means that we have to revamp it and get more sales in order to cover our expenses each month and make profit.
36 clear.
Now, Ron, I'm gonna maybe put it into a different lens because you're very analytical like I am, and you might even have a spreadsheet or two, right?
Oh, yeah.
You do have a lot. So that's the technique, that's the process of how you get to where you want to be. But I think for purposes of what we're doing, in terms of trying to get that emotional connection, we might talk about 36 families or 36, buyers or sellers achieve their goal of either, trading up, moving out of the area, or, buying their first home instead of, 38 closed units at the end of the year. What you're saying is all part of how you get there, but I think to emotionalize it, because did anybody ever have a transaction where, maybe you made more than your average commission and it felt pretty good, but you could think back to a transaction where you helped, a family or an individual buy their first home. They really appreciated it. It was challenging and it just had a lot of emotional juice in it for you. And it kind of, gave you inspiration in your career. Anybody relate to that? Because I can say, like, I've had transactions where you've made a lot of money, but you made a lot of money, but it didn't really satisfy your, it didn't rejuvenate you. And sometimes if you had a transaction where somebody didn't really appreciate it and everything you did, was never good enough and you got paid, it didn't make that much of a difference, right? The one where somebody really appreciated it, where it was kind of life changing, where somebody had a bigger impact, in my opinion. Anybody else have those experiences and want to share one so that maybe we can anchor that to some of the other guests on the call?
Yeah, early in my career, I listed a townhouse, and before we could close, the family, husband and wife were foreclosed on. So obviously I didn't get a commission there. Uh, and what I did was help them find a rental because they had to go somewhere. And they were very short on funds, obviously, because they were in trouble. And I put my commission towards helping them get their rental. And it was like one of the most rewarding things I had ever done in my life. I mean, and the people were so happy. They cried. I cried. Uh, it's not always the commission, you know? It was so gratifying to see that I helped those people to try and get back on their feet. So, yeah.
That's great.
And it doesn't even matter. I mean, it would be great if they, referred you to 9 people and bought 11 houses, but it doesn't even matter because I think that emotion of helping somebody usually outweighs, and I think in the subconscious mind has a bigger impact on our ability to be consistent. Right? I see some people, nodding their heads there, right? So trying to use willpower as opposed to maybe programming our subconscious to serve us by allowing us to realize what really motivates us and how to tap into that. And when you tap into what you're inspired to do, usually what comes later, what comes next naturally, what just flows when you're doing the right thing and you're in the zone.
What I like seeing is after closing, the pictures our associates take with the new homeowners. What's nice is their smile is bigger than the homeowners, and it's not the commission. It's that feeling of joy you get when you make people happy.
Yeah, we talked about like last week about serving others and that the power of helping other people and how that propels us. Kind of I think it was the Zig Ziglar quote. If you help enough people get what they want, who knew how to finish that one? There must be somebody that read Zig Ziglar here.
You'll get what
You can help
want.
enough people you'll get everything that you want. You got it. So if you just try to get what you want, sometimes that eludes you. But if you're giving and you're helping others get what they want, all of a sudden you find out whatever you want is right at your fingertips available to you because you're putting it out there in the universe. Your subconscious mind is thinking before your checkbook is thinking, right? Your subconscious mind is thinking before your spreadsheet is thinking, right? Your subconscious mind is humanizing the whole process.
I'm going to embarrass you, Rob.
All right, go
You're-
ahead,
you're-
Colleen. It's not the first time.
You are the perfect example of that because you get such joy out of helping our agents succeed. It's your thing, That's why you're
Right.
on vacation in Europe and doing a mastermind today.
Exactly, right? Because it's not really a thought like, hey, I'm gonna skip it. Because once you skip it, it becomes a lot easier to skip it again.
I think there's a great quote by, I think it's Floyd Wickman, you get by giving. And I think that is really an important, giving to your clients, giving to your community. I think that all helps bring the business to you,
Good karma.
Yeah. There's an agent in our plantation office who I'm not going to call out and embarrassed for being kind and doing a good thing, but she was very active in a lot of associations when her kids were growing up, and she's tremendously successful. And the one thing she never did was she never promoted her business through the activities she did. And, you know, there's degrees of doing that. And we always talk about you don't want to be a secret agent, but she would never go out of her way to put a banner out there. Hey, you know, blank, blank realtor, even though she did a lot of things for the system and for the process. But by not self-promoting, the business actually found her because people, oh, you know, she's a realtor. Let me see if I can use her because, you know, she's done so much for the community. And I think that's, you know, part of the magic is if you say, hey, I'm going to join a community association just so I can network. I don't know. A lot of times that subconscious, conscious mind kind of throws a monkey wrench in the works and it doesn't usually work out. If you say, you know what, I love, you know, Florham Park. I want to join an association to help the town, or, you know, I love Pompano. I want to join and make a contribution. That's what really will help your business when you're doing it for the right reason. And I know, you know, some of the newer agents might be checking out here saying this sounds like a lot of, you know, hot air. But I can tell you that, you know, if you do something with a ulterior motive, a lot of times I think your subconscious mind will almost on purpose trip you up on that because it's saying that this is being done for the wrong reason, and it will almost reject, you know, opportunities that come to us. Did anybody
So
agree
Ralph,
with that? Has anybody had that experience?
yeah, let me tell you, in Mountain Lakes, they used to have a house tour every year around Christmas time. And one year I was asked to fill in um, for someone who got ill at the last moment to be a host at one of these houses and just kind of guide people through. And it turned out that there were a number of Weichert agents who were also doing the similar type of thing for this event, and they all were wearing their badges and they had all of their paraphernalia with them and everything. And I didn't have any badge or anything. And people kept coming up to me and saying, aren't you a realtor? And I'm like, yes. And they said, well, how come you're not wearing your badge and everything like all the Weichert agents are? And I said, well, because I'm here for the town. I'm here just to support Town Club. And they asked me to fill in, and I was happy to do it. And it's not about my company. It's not about what I do for a living. It's what I do for the town. And I got a lot of really good feedback on that.
Yep. I think that it sounds, I think this is where the subconscious mind comes in. And I think it's also where maybe your subconscious mind understanding that your conscious mind is doing it for only for gain. Like you're saying, hey, maybe I want to, you know, fill in for this person that was pockets more than I want to help the town club, kind of undermines it. And I'm guessing a lot of the people at Weichert were probably looked at as, you know, this is really not the place to be, you know, a walking billboard. And
That
thanks
was
for that.
exactly the
Thanks for showing
case.
a perfect example. Yeah, this is an event where people want to see a house and then they like, oh, by the way, sir, aren't you an agent? Can you help? Like that's the way that it should go down, as not, you know, all the bling bling and have all my marketing material on somebody else's house, just groveling for a piece of business. Anyway, thanks for sharing that.
No, it's great.
Um,
And I'm laughing because there is an agent that I know on Fisher Island there in Miami Beach there that it's a very exclusive island and a high price range. And sometimes she does on the island, she does the dinner, you know, she gets a get together and she had to hire security because other agents on the island they chime in and they go around with their business cards. So she has to chase them away because they are trying to get the business out of her party, out of her group, that of a group there. And it was so funny that, she had to hire security to do that. And the other quote I saw this morning there is that if you're sure about what you saw, you're not afraid to reap the benefits. I think that was great. That hit me. Because if you do enough good to people, the results will come back to you. And another thing is that a year or so ago, I sold a strange building there in Plantation that I sold, and then I was in a get together meeting with other realtors a few days later, and I was talking to this guy here that he sold the building, and he said, "Tony, what's going on with the?" I said, "I just sold it." "Oh wow," he said, "how much?" and all that. I told him. He said, "Because I have a client nearby that he's trying to sell, and it was not on a busy street. It was a little bit, behind other buildings there, so it was not visible from the busy area there." And he asked me, he said, "Did you have people coming through?" I said, "Yeah, I had 2 or 3 other people that they were very interested, but they thought the building was too high, so they didn't buy it." And I said, "I can give it to you. Maybe you can sell your listing to them, to these other agents that they came to see my listing." So I gave him the name and numbers of all these, I think it was 3 of them. And he wound up selling the building to one of those clients, one of those agents that they came to see mine. So he put it there on Facebook, and he said, "Tony Moore is a class action," because I asked him about it without hesitation. He gave me the name and number of these other agents. I said, "Yeah, why go to waste? We got to help each other. I mean, I sold my building. So these other buyers, if you don't help them, they go to waste."
So Tony, what happened to that analysis I sent you? Was that helpful? And you want to mention that to the group?
Yeah, if you want to go over
did
that,
you-
I don't know if you have it someplace that you want to share
Did-
and explain what you
what-
did. Because I
what
never had the
did
time
you?
to get back with you. I am so sorry about that.
All right. So anyway, after last week's mastermind, Tony had a question for me. And what was the address, Tony?
The address is either you put it down 116 South Atlantic Drive West in Boynton Beach, 116, and then the other building is 122.
All right. So I'm not going to go into this for too much, but I just want to
Yeah, if you
share with
explain
you.
what you did, because I don't understand. When it comes to numbers, who knows?
So after last week's mastermind, Tony had mentioned to me he had a property where the owner was
There you
willing to
go.
finance,
Yeah.
and I had provided the sheet for him, and I told him that maybe we could even talk about it at the mastermind. And it was a 5-unit building. I guess there's 2 of them right next to each other.
Mhm.
And at the asking price of $1 million, or if it was at 950 with a $250,000 down payment, this property has a cap rate of 8 to 9%, which I think is not too shabby at the current market rates for the rent. And we said they were 18. Forget where's the rents here, Tony. You had 1,800 and what was the other one? 2,400.
One is 1,800 we're talking about, and the other one is a 1,600.
Okay, so I did at 1,500 and 1,800, and I did at 16 and 1950 at these 2 different amounts. And this is what this property would have a cap rate of 7 to 8.5%. And it would have a 5-year cash on cash return. So your down payment, you're going to get more than half of your down payment back in the first 5 years. And I don't know, I think it's not too bad of an investment. A 5-year profit of 227,000, a 5-year return of 75% on your down payment. And the reason why that's a little bit different is because your cash on cash and your down payment slightly different due to amortization. So if anybody has an investor that's looking for an 8% cap rate, I did this sheet for Tony last week, and Tony wanted to wait obviously till today to go over it. So looks like a reasonable deal, Tony. Hopefully you can sell it, and maybe somebody on this call here can help one of their investors to buy it. So this
Yes.
sheet took me about 15 minutes or less to do. Just
Oh, okay.
FYI, it's available to everybody. And maybe next time I'm down in Florida and I'll do one in New Jersey, we can do another workshop on how to fill this out. It's really, really simple. And I think it's powerful to tell somebody, basically this is the bottom line here, Tony, is you have a cap rate of 7.93%. You have a lot of people asking you what's the cap rate. And a lot of times, unless you're a commercial specialist, you don't know what's baked into that. So now you can give them a cap rate by filling out this simple form. And then you can even outshine the commercial broker and say, hey, by the way, you can have a 57% cash on cash return in the first 5 years. Well, Tony, what does that mean? Well, that means that if you put up 200,000, you're getting back 114,000 in the first 5 years, almost all your money back. And then you're playing with house money after that. It's a pretty good investment, in my opinion.
This
So
is now
anyway.
based upon that there's a mortgage on it, or there is no.
I think you said that he would hold
Okay, I see
paper
the
at
mortgage
6%,
there.
right?
Okay, 6%. Yes.
Hey, it's Rob,
so-
can you make sure that the rest of the team knows how to find the calculator, because it comes in handy exactly when you did this. You actually took you less than 10 minutes to do this because you CC'd me on it. Taking the two comparisons from both of the properties, which actually becomes one lot, Tony, you can sell it as a two, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
as individual. So for the 1031 investor portfolio profiles, this is actually, it's a really good investment property.
Okay.
So this is called investment analysis worksheet. I'm going to put it into the chat, and it's purposely done as a view only. So don't get discouraged. The reason it's done as a view only is you copy it and then you own it, and you can just edit it as much as you want. So that's the reason why it's shared as a view only.
So Rob, if we could go back for a moment to where we started with affirmations. I actually had a conversation this week with one of our agents who was feeling a little bit depressed because of the way their business was going this year. And they felt that perhaps they weren't up to the task. And I started talking to her about the concept of affirmations and how having a very positive affirmation could really affect their psyche and their ability to do business, especially, in all markets. And I shared with her that my affirmation for years was, I'm better than any agent that I'm going to come in contact with. And it gave me, over time, subconsciously, the confidence that I needed to be successful in real estate. And by the end of our conversation, this agent was like really pumped up and had a nice, new, brighter attitude about moving forward. And I think that's really the power of having an affirmation and doing it every morning, standing in front of a mirror and repeating your affirmation. So I just wanted to share that with the group.
And I think, Robert, one of the things is, you're saying that you're better than the competition was not you going out telling people that you were better. It was like you preparing so that you
Correct.
could serve better, correct?
Correct.
And there's
Absolutely.
there's a big distinction from being all hat and no cattle. Like you keep talking a good game, but not backing it up, right?
Right.
and thinking to yourself, I'm going to be better than anybody I come into contact with. I'm going to help people, and people will sense that quality and they'll be attracted to you instead of you having to chase them. And there's a
It's,
big distinction there.
yeah, it's confidence versus arrogance. And the key here is confidence.
Yep. So Fozzie, I'm trying to I guess I have limited internet here, so I can't copy the link. Fozzie, if you're on, can you just post that in there, because I'm struggling with it. It's called Investment Analysis Worksheet. If you type that
Absolutely.
into your Google Drive and then you just put it into the chat here, you'll take
Sure.
some stress off of me because I'm flipping screens. So yes, it's important, Robert, for you to think, if you don't believe that you're the best person for the job, you should never get hired, because it's going to be unanimous, right? Nobody's going to hire you if you don't think that you're the best person for the job. And a lot of times we get victimized because the things that we were doing 6 working now, right? So I'm guessing that the team member that you were talking to was in a rut. The plan that they were executing from 2020, 2021 wasn't working in 2023. And then because that plan wasn't working, they were probably doubting
Their
and
ability.
second guessing their confidence in their abilities, right? So that's a really big subconscious programming piece. And you need to believe that you're the best person for the job. Okay, then you need to do the activities so that you're able to solve for the problems. One of the biggest challenges I'm hoping to overcome, and I say this, um, I mean, I don't want to offend anybody with this statement, but if somebody at a cocktail party, a block party, in your office over a phone call says, you know what, love to sell my house, but I don't know where I'd be able to move. Everything's so competitive, prices are so high. We all agree that that's probably, the lower level of a problem in this business, right? But that's really why we're necessary. Okay. That's not something that we should be nodding. Hell, Robert, I agree. If I sold your house, I don't know where I could get you a place to go. You're not going to sell any houses. I hate to tell you. If you have that mindset, you will not sell houses. You will be struggling. Okay. And, we need to be honest with people, but we also need to not roll over and, play dead to whatever their beliefs are. Even if the best market was under 7 million houses, and I think most experts are predicting that there's a floor of 4 million sales. So maybe the market's off 35%, 40% off the peak, right? We all know that there's a lot of agents that have left the industry. So the agents in the industry are not seeing a 30 to 40% drop in their business if they're being able to pivot and help people. A lot of agents are seeing their business grow because these challenges that people perceive, if you're able to solve them, help you to propel yourself to a higher level. There's a lot I just said, but um, you need to believe that you can solve the problem. And if you're not believing what what your words are saying, if your subconscious is contradicting what your conscious is saying, you have a conflict, and it's going to make it really hard to be successful.
Yeah, you got to be
So
congruent, with what you think and what you're saying, because otherwise people, they will feel it. Sometimes, I hear comments that say, I don't think you really care, Tony. What do you mean I don't care? This is my business. Oh, I don't think you wanted to sell that property. I said, that's what I do every day. But it all depends how you come out, so the people, they hear you and they have their own idea what how you say and what you say. Yeah.
Yep. I mean, you know, I believe that if people knew us better, Tony, that they would select us all the time. If they knew what was behind the scene, if they knew what motivated us to do what we do, that we would have a lot more business. We wouldn't have to be worried about that. Um, I was talking to an agent just a few days ago, probably 2 weeks ago at this point, and unfortunately, one of their home buyers from a year and a half ago, one of the spouses got terminally ill, and they're basically preparing for the worst. And this agent said, "I'll sell your house for free." Asked me if they could do that. I don't want to charge any commission on my side. And they called up the attorney, and it's funny. They said, "You're selling that. You're going to represent them for free." I said, "For free? Yep, okay." And they got them to do the legal work for free because they wanted to contribute. I mean, it's such a tragedy, but we don't hide when our customers need us the most. And that was one of the easiest calls I had to make. And Robert, when you were in management, did anybody ever ask you and say, "Hey, this family needs some help. Can I give away my service for free just to help them out?" It wasn't like we're advertising it. It was like, "Hey, I want to help somebody."
Absolutely. Absolutely. It did happen and we did it. And, that's the kind of thing that comes back.
Right, but you know what? We don't do it because it comes back. We do it because it's the right thing. And
Right.
then because we do the right thing, oftentimes it does come back. And you're right, it probably did come back, over and over again, but we really did it for the right reason.
Correct.
And that's the important piece. And that's what makes this all, exciting. And if there's somebody that I can help, Colleen, you mentioned that I kind of light up when I'm helping people because I'm really inspired if I can make a change, right? I see things a little bit differently. I'd like to make a contribution. I believe the business isn't as challenging as it needs to be. If we, put on our servant's gear first and just figure out how we can help people, we also take an interest in being that best possible agent, best possible choice for the client, then business becomes easy. And it's really part of the way that we need to program, those 2 million thoughts per second that we don't even think about, right? It's the thoughts that tell us to breathe. You remember on the mastermind 2 or 3 weeks ago, I said, who woke up in the morning and said, "I have to think to breathe"? It happens naturally, right? And if we program our mind to help people and to, have abundance and have a limitless mindset, it will allow us to spread that amongst everybody that's working with us, whether they're clients, friends and acquaintances, colleagues, all ships rise with the tide, right? If you hang around an office with a bunch of complainers and a bunch of people who are seeing their business plummet, Ron, what do you think is going to happen to your business if you're in an office where everybody's business is dropping? Give me a guess.
We're gonna hear a lot of complaints and a lot of people that are depressed, and they're gonna bring you down.
And your business is going to drop.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess it will, but I wouldn't let that happen. Gotta work harder. You're asking the wrong person.
Oh, no, but if you're around an environment, Ron, with people who are, downers, right? And people are always telling everybody why this didn't work, why that didn't work, complaining about stuff. Versus if you the same person go into an environment where everybody is coming in early, getting stuff done, they're ringing the bell when they get a listing, they're all excited. That's going to
Motivate you.
out. I mean, you're going to be successful in either case, but you're
Yeah,
going to get there a lot quicker when you're around a pack of people that are out there doing good and being successful.
Yep.
All
True-
all
true or not,
energies,
right?
Rob, are contagious. All energies are contagious, negative or positive, right?
Yeah, it's funny because when I worked with Colleen, and when I first got into business back in 1984, she had a big board on, that everybody would put their listings on, and the price of the property. And I would look at that list every day and go, I want to be up there. I want to be part of that. How am I going to be part of that? Then I just picked everybody's brain. I went to where all the top producers and I picked their brains and took them out to lunch and got motivated. And I followed their footsteps until I got to be where I wanted to be. But turn that around to the negativity. I don't think I've ever been in an office with any kind of negativity, but looking at it, if it did happen, I would try to help motivate them. I mean, that's just my nature. So, I mean, I don't know if that question relates so much to me, but Colleen used to make us look at that board and say, if you want to be up there, you better get to work and do what you got to do, which motivated me and got me to the next level. And having a good broker like Colleen, made my business grow.
Rob,
Look at that.
I
Thank
think-
you,
Thank you,
Colleen.
Ram. You made me cry.
You're the best.
I personally think that our motivation is something we work on every day. I know that I work on it every day. First thing when I wake up, I'm starting on it. If go for my walk, getting myself pumped up for my day, and surround myself with people that are positive, and be sure that saying positive things to people and not focusing on the negative, but rephrasing everything and making it into a positive. Even when things are going difficult, there's always a silver lining. Okay, and it's helped my business. It's helped me personally. So I think it's a
Well
good way to
said.
be. Yeah.
Well said.
And with the growth of teams and mentoring, and Lynn, you're mentoring some people now, right?
No, not really. I'm mentoring myself right now, but it's maybe in the future. But right now, I've got a lot on my plate, so I'm just trying to move my own business forward. I get a little distracted. So, but
So sometimes when you help people, it helps yourself,
oh,
which is another
absolutely.
irony here. Like,
I'll go ahead and answer questions or help my clients. I mean, I've helped my whole community with staying active and protecting from a big developer. So I'm just kind of pulling back a little bit on that right now so I can focus on my business because the market is a bit of a challenge. But Rob, I'm not too far away from that platinum that I told you about last year. 60, man,
very
I'm on
good.
my way. So that's my goal this year. So
I would never bet against it. I see
Yep.
it happening, and the more challenging the market gets, to me, the more the public needs us, right? And it's
absolutely.
the more that we need to, instead of being an order taker
Mhm.
like it was 3 years ago, as the market gets to be a little bit more discerning and challenging, okay, everybody is not the right fit to transact in this market, but our job is to educate the people and identify the ones who it makes sense doing a transaction here. Because if there's still 4 million transactions and there's less agents and people still want to move, if their limiting belief is, where am I going to go? If they don't have a mortgage or they have a very low mortgage, transacting market's actually a benefit for them, as opposed to waiting for when the rates come down. When the rates come down, maybe a few more houses come on the market, but if there's 20% more houses on the market, there's 100% more buyers, so it's going to be that much more competitive,
Right.
right?
Absolutely.
I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of
I don't know.
feel I do better in a
Yeah.
market like this, if that makes sense, because I can kind of see what the solutions are. If I had a conversation in the cocktail party or taking my walk, just recently I had one, and they said, "Well, where are we going to go?" Okay, well, there's a lot of different options. I kind of show them, what we can do and just kind of talk it out with them. And we do find a solution. And, rather than focusing on the many, I try to focus on the few. So my past clients, my VIP clients, and it seems to be working for me.
Yep. So we need to embrace the different market,
Yes.
and we need to say this is where people need us more often, because before, when the market was crazy, they could go to a 1% listing company, put it on the MLS, and good chance it would sell. What they didn't know then is that it might have gotten them a lot less because they didn't have it professionally represented, but they would get the job done. Now it's less obvious that the job is going to get done quickly. And here's like another case where, like, I love the uncertainty, right? I was working with an agent, did a fantastic job explaining to an investor what their property would be worth today, and talk to them about putting it on the market for sale. And I got this question. I got this question yesterday. The owner of the investment property is asking me this question. Hi, Lillian. Oh, I gave her name out. Thanks for putting in the time and effort for sending out the presentation. Quick question. Where do you see the value in 1 to 3 years in the future? Do you think it will sell for more or less? Thank you. And I think that kind of got her a little bit tripped up. And I said, hey, here's how I would answer, but maybe you want to just modify it. Hi, the future value will depend on several projections, including interest rates, inflation, strengths and weaknesses of the rental market, in addition to the competition, the competing properties on the market. With all this said, it most likely will be up slightly. However, if 2 or 3 of these items mentioned go in the wrong direction, there can be a sizable correction pressuring home prices down 10% or significantly more. Now, I believe everything I said there, right? I mean, if nothing bad happens, prices will probably be up slightly. But are there 2 or 3 things that could happen in conjunction that could really maybe tank the market a bit? Or maybe not even tank the market, but have a minor correction? I think those are all true. And when they ask that question, I'm like, that's why I'm here. Right. And if that honest answer causes them to wait 6 months or a year, so be it, right?
Rather have an honest answer. You can fall back on it.
Right, but that's what I enjoy in terms of, to being here. And then getting back to, programming, if we're a vehicle for good, we're always trying to figure out how can we, how can we help people, and how can we program ourselves that we're not intimidated. As a matter of fact, our mind is going to drive us past the challenges that we foresee, right? Because it can easily be said that, Lynn, this isn't going to be the year to make platinum, right?
Oh,
Or you can just say, hey, I can see how it's going to, but I can see how it's going to, if you program your mind, there's nothing that's going to stop you. And can I tell you what really happens behind the scenes when you think like this, Lynn?
What?
You have 4 extra transactions in case 3 fall apart. And instead of making platinum, you make platinum plus 35%.
Okay.
Because that's what the subconscious mind will do, right? Because, you don't want to be there at the end of the year waiting for one deal to close and having somebody say, hey, for tax reasons, I want to move it into the next year.
Right.
Okay. And Robert, how many times have you had that happen where somebody's like, I want to make this goal, and they're like, but Robert, they're moving it back to January 2nd for tax reasons.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
My whole goal is shot. So when your subconscious mind plays into effect, you have 4 backups, and it's almost impossible for all 4 of them to get pushed back or cancel or happen next year. And those are the things that happen when you have that certainty programmed into your mind. So it's now September 1st. We have 4 months left. Let's not leave it up to one transaction to determine whether we meet our goal or not.
Okay.
Okay, let's help
All right.
a lot more people so that doesn't even become a close call. Right? If you're the professional athletes, they don't try to win by by a hair. They try to win by, two or three measures, whether it's,
Mhm.
a body length in swimming, or whether it's a horse length in horse racing, whatever it is, you don't want to leave it to be that close.
Mhm. I'm
Right.
working on it. Like this next quarter is usually, well, for me anyways, the most difficult quarter. So I'm trying to get myself pumped up as much as I can to, go after my leads and try to get some more listings to get them sold. So,
So Fozzie and Colleen, I'm going to ask the two of you if you could put out for the next time I come down. I think it's the 16th through the 19th of this month. If there's a participation, a group that would like to participate, I'll meet in an office that's centrally located. We'll take a 2-hour time block, and I'll make everybody into an investment expert. And I'll ask them just to bring a few properties to analyze. We'll analyze them on the spot. And I really believe that if you have this extra knowledge when you're talking to your sphere of influence and your clients, if you said, hey, I just wanted to make you aware that there's a few investment opportunities out there. If you had any thoughts about it, I'd love to share it with you. And if
mhm.
you do that where you're not intimidated by them asking questions that you can't answer, you're going to change people's lives by allowing them to make investments in real estate where they can have a 8 or 9%, essentially very low risk investment. You can make money off of it in 10 or 15 years with the magic of compounding. It's going to be one of the most powerful investments they ever made. And they should be the biggest raving fans that you have because you've introduced them to that. Most people, if you talk about investing in real estate, they might say, I don't want to have to, worry about getting a call about a clogged toilet on a Saturday night when I'm out to dinner. That's how a lot of people think about investment property. And if you have it professionally managed or you have systems in place, you can tremendously minimize those negative impacts of or negative associations with owning real estate. So Colleen and Foz, if you can get, some people that are interested, I think it's a really powerful way to transfer value to clients and to also make yourself programmed to, say, hey, bring it on. I'm the right person to answer that. Or even if I don't have the answer at my fingertips, I know exactly how to get the solution to that question that you have.
Agreed, Rob. I don't think a lot of agents realize that. So for example, Erica Reagan, right? She has 7 investors. That's all she does. That's all she does is buy and sell for 7 investors. And it started off with that one investor telling another investor. So her book of business and her scope of real estate actually is, it's a little bit broader. And I think that would be a perfect opportunity for you to show and highlight the possibilities.
So I think maybe 2 weeks from now, I'm going to pick up on this topic and maybe even do a little bit more in terms of how do we go about programming our minds without, sometimes it may seem to be a little bit corny or it may seem to be a little bit odd. But I remember, there was an agent who now moved out of New Jersey, but he grew up in Jersey City of all places. And this person loved the transformation going on in Jersey City. He was working part-time. We don't generally hire. Loved the job so much, and he loved selling properties in Jersey City, that the second sale he made was to a managing director at Morgan Stanley buying an investment property in one of the towers in Jersey City. And he said, Rob, I would get there half an hour early. I would just keep telling myself that, I'm going to sell this person's house. I'm going to get it done. I'm going to get it done. And he would see it happening, and he'd sit in his car for half an hour before every appointment. And that was his way of having an affirmation. And that was one of the more visualized and specific affirmations I've ever really seen. And he had no right to be selling a managing director $1.2 million, $1.3 million house in one of the high rises in Jersey City, being in the business less than a year. But he loved Jersey City so much, he knew so much about it. And he kept telling himself that I'm the person to get the job done. And he did. And I think those are the things that sometimes we dismiss, saying, well, that's kind of a little bit ridiculous. I'm not going to get up and say, I'm the best realtor in Mountain Lakes. I'm the best realtor in Mountain Lakes. But if you do that in combination with making yourself the best agent in Mountain Lakes, then that will become your reality, and your subconscious mind will be congruent with your conscious mind, and your nonverbal and your verbal will be consistent. People will be attracted to you because you don't have internal conflict. Your subconscious mind is not saying that's malarkey. There are 7 agents that do more business than me, right? If your subconscious mind is telling you that because it's looking at the data and it's looking at all the evidence, your conscious mind trying to help somebody. So that's something that I'm going to try to get a little bit more concrete information on how we can go about doing it. I think for me, and the way I'm programmed is I want to help 3 people this month buy, sell, move up, move down, or get an investment, as opposed to make 3 sales. I want to help 3 individuals. And when you take it down to that personal level, it makes it a lot easier to relate to. And programming your subconscious mind to do those good activities. So I don't know if there's any other questions before we wrap it up here. I highly recommend it if you ever get a chance to go out to Norway. It's beautiful. Any last questions?
So it's not a question, but about 4 or 5 years ago, for whatever reason, a series of people were asking me if I could recommend a notary. And so I decided that, wait a second, I can help these people. And I went out and I got my notary license. And I've been using that for 4 or 5 years now. And people call me because they hear from other people that I'm a notary. And it's a great way to, be in a position to start a conversation with somebody while you're notarizing whatever they want. So I just put that out there for people who are, maybe looking for another way to meet people. This has been a very nice one for me.
And you did it from a point of trying to.
Correct. Yeah, I was in the Rockaway office, and it just happened that a number of people walked into my office and said, "Hey, do you know a notary?" And I felt like I should be a notary because I could help these people. So I went out and I did it.
Well, I again, I enjoyed all the commentary here. If anybody has any investors for Tony's property with a 8% cap rate, please reach out to Tony. If you don't have his contact info, ask your manager. We can get it to you. He's out of our plantation office. And if any of you have any properties that you want some help on, just hit up your manager or even hit me up. And it only takes a few minutes. I did it while I was away last week for Tony. So have a fantastic week. See you all next Friday.
Take care.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Rob.
Enjoy the rest of your trip.
Bye.